Welcome to yet another class of business studies. In our previous class, we have discussed about the meaning of business, the nature of business, and business activities. We have discussed what is economic activities, what is non-economic activities, and we have seen one of the economic activity, that is business and its characteristics or features. In this video, we will discuss about to another economic activity, that is profession and employment. So let us first of all discuss what is a profession. What type of activity it is. When we say that he is a professional or his profession is this and this, so what do we mean by that? First of all, we must understand that profession is a vocation or an occupation which involve rendering of personalized service, and this personalized service is based on specialized skill and knowledge. Profession is an intellectual activity. A person who renders the services, he uses his intellect, and this intellect call for acquiring of specialized knowledge and skill to render the services. The person who renders this professional service, they are known as professional. And these professionals, they are bound by the professional ethics or professional code of conduct. To profess a vocation or an occupation, one must have to acquire the specialized knowledge, a specialized skill which is required for rendering the specialized services. Take an example of an architecture. He designed a building, the structure of a house or an apartment. Now he could do so because he has undergone the learning of the art of constructing a chart or a map, and using his device, using his skill that is required in drawing a map or an architecture of the building that he need to construct. Another example could be auditors. Auditors are the person who are responsible for verifying the authenticity of the business result that is depicted by the books of account of the business. A business presents the account. Now, whether the account that is being presented by the business is manipulated, whether it depicts the true and fair position of the business or not, this should be verified and certified by the auditors. For doing so, they undergo learning the skill of auditing, learning the specialized knowledge, what it involves to audit the books of account, and how to progress with the service of auditing. They have learned the skill, they have undergone a training for acquiring this specialized knowledge, for acquiring this specialized skill relating to conducting their own services and professions. Another example could be a doctor. There are different types of doctor. One could be a cardiologist, the other could be a skin specialist, that is dermatologist. Other could be a pulmonary interventionalist, that is relating to our lungs. Then one could be like a general medicine practitioners, MD. A person who is specialized in heart, in the treatment of heart ailment cannot treat the diseases relating to neurology. He does not have the idea, the knowledge, the necessary skill about or necessary learning about the ailment relating to neuroscience or neurology, and therefore he cannot render his services because he has learned the service of treating heart ailment relating to heart. So therefore these professionals are specialist person who acquire some specialized knowledge and use their intellect relating to that specialized field, that specialized skill and knowledge while rendering their services. Their activity, their conduct is guided by the professional ethics relating to a particular profession. What I mean is that to become an advocate, one has to acquire the degree or the baccalaureate in a law. One has to get a degree in a law to profess, to act as an advocate. Beside that, how he should act as an advocate, there is an professional affiliation. He must enroll himself to be a member of Bar Council of India. It is this professional body which provide him the permission to practice as an advocate, to use his knowledge and his skill relating to the art of advocacy, relating to provide legal services. So therefore, even the doctors, they have to pass an MBBS exams, and then they have to get themselves enrolled with their professional body, which is known as Medical Council of India, MCI. Medical Council of India, they permit a doctor to profess the service of a doctor, to act as a doctor, to treat the special ailment in which they specializes. They have a special knowledge. So therefore, professionals or professional profession is an activity, or it is an avocation. It is a vocation, not an avocation. It is a vocation or an occupation in which an individual uses his intellectual relating to a specialized knowledge and render his services to other. The primary importance or primary concern in rendering or in being a profession is that rendering of service is not guided by earning of money or profit. Rather, it is backed by service motive. The main force behind providing a professional service is service motive. Though there is money, though it is under an economic activity, but the main motive behind providing a service, specialized service, is service motive. They do it for a service. School is another institution which do not comes into the purview of profession or business. That comes into a entity of non-profit making organization. The activity which they do not do it for profit, but it is rather to impart education and learning to the student. But coming to a profession, it is a service or an activity in which one engages using his specialized learning and skill to impart his service to the other for a fee. So for his service, there is a nominal payment, a fee. Now coming about the characteristics or the features of this profession is that The first feature is that it is an intellectual activity. The first feature, profession is an intellectual activity. Now, intellectual activity includes specialized learning, learning of some spatial skill, acquiring some spatial learning about a specialized activity, be it an architecture, be it an engineer, be it a doctor, be it an advocate, or be it any other specialist. So there it calls for a specialized knowledge and activity which includes some spatial knowledge and skill. A profession undergoes a spatial training relating or pertaining to his job, pertaining to the activity that he professes or that he engages into. So it is an intellectual activity, use of intellect relating to specialized knowledge and skill in rendering the services. Then the second feature is that in a profession, a professional undergoes formal training. There is a provision of formal training. What is meant by formal training? That after acquiring the specialized learning about the intricacies, about the laws, about the principles, about the rules, about the regulations, about the spatial knowledge of the subject matter of a particular subject or a particular skill, one has to undergo training. That is, using those learning practically so that they can be able to provide their services with accuracy and more meticulously to the concerned people. So second feature of profession is that it includes or it necessitates a formal training. Unless, take an example of a chartered accountant. They learn the various laws, various regulations, various rules of doing the work relating to accountancy, auditing of accountancy, and preparation of the books of account. Now, their knowledge helps them to carry their work out, to render their services relating to accounting work. Similarly, a doctor uses his specialized training and knowledge that he has learned for rendering his service. So, we conclude that a professional undergoes a vigorous training to acquire the necessary knowledge and learning relating to professing a specialized service. Then, the third feature of profession is that there is a restricted entry. A professional who wants to profess a specialized service has to pass the necessary qualification, get the necessary qualification, pass through the required examination to obtain a degree or a diploma or such qualification which enables him to profess the specialized knowledge and skill in rendering his services. So there is a restricted entry. A person who has not acquired the necessary qualification, the necessary degree or diploma, or the necessary art that is necessary, mandatory for rendering the service cannot be a professional. A doctor has to pass an MBBS exam, then he can profess as a doctor. An engineer has to pass the exam of an engineering. An advocate has to pass the exam of an LLB. He must be an LLB graduate or must hold a degree of an LLB. Then only he can profess as an advocate. So therefore, in any field of professional services, there is a restricted entry, and only those persons who have the required or necessary qualification relating to professing the specialized knowledge and skill relating to us intellect of a particular services can do that, otherwise not. Then the fourth feature of profession is that there is professional association. After obtaining the particular diploma and degree which certifies that a person has the necessary knowledge of the rules, of the necessary ideas, of the necessary information relating to a particular field, but how he can apply it, whether he is permitted to apply it or not, that can be possible only when he becomes a member of a professional bodies. He has a professional association. Like advocate has to be a member of Bar Council of India. They have to get themselves registered. The doctors have to get themselves registered with MCI, that is Medical Council of India. Similarly, there are other professional bodies with which a professional has to associate himself or herself. Now, these professional bodies, they regulate the entry of a professional into a particular field of service. Who can be a doctor? Who can profess or practice as a doctor, as an advocate, as an engineer? Their professional work is being guided or being controlled by the professional association. They grant a certificate for practice. They formulate and regulate the professional activities relating to a particular field. They also frame laws that what should be the bylaws which one has to abide while professing a degree or an activity that has been provided or it is provided by the professional body. And then the next feature is dominance of service motive. Though in a profession there is exchange or there is economic gain, but the motive of service is inherent in a profession. A profession is carried out not with the motive of earning profit or with economic gain, but it is with the motive of rendering the personal service, personalized, specialized service, and which command a necessary fee. This fee is not the mandatory requirement of providing the service. A profession may charge a nominal fee for the services that he renders, but earning money or rendering service only for money is not the objective, but the objective is to earn, to render service, and then charge a nominal fee for the service. Then apart from this, we can just summarize what is the definition and what is the features that I have narrated now. If you look, then we can just come over here. We can see that profession is an occupation which involve rendering, that is giving of personal service. The service is of personal nature. It means I cannot transfer my work or my service to be performed by another. If I have been entrusted to do a work, I will do it. I gave you an example of a cardiologist treating a neuro patient. That cannot be done because for a specialized service they require specialized knowledge and skill which can be provided by only the person who is an expert in the particular field. So therefore it is a personal service of specialized nature. And why it is taken? It is taken in lieu of a fee. It is not for earning that I can serve only if I gain fee or if I gain money. The basic purpose is that since I have a knowledge, my knowledge is required by somebody help or somebody's purpose, I am ready to impart my knowledge, I am ready to impart my skill for the benefit of others. Now if you go by the features, I have discussed it is an intellectual activity. And this intellectual activity means one uses the specialized skill, the intellect, the learning that one has acquired when he renders his services. So therefore, it is an intellectual activity. And one person, the professional, has to undergo a formal training and experience to acquire the special knowledge. One has to get a special degree, a diploma, to earn it. They learn the special principle, the special knowledge, the special laws, the special rules relating to a particular field. And therefore, it includes formal training and experience. Then there is a restricted entry. A person, everybody cannot become a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. But there is a restricted entry. A person who wants to become a professional must have certain requisite necessary qualifications. Unless he has the qualification, for example, I gave to become an advocate, one has to be an LLB degree holder. To become a doctor, one has to get a requisite MBBS degree holder. To be an engineer, one has to pass an engineering exam. So therefore, only those persons who possess the required intellect and qualification, they only can become a professional. They only can start rendering the service of a professional. Nobody else. Then there is professional association. These professionals, they have to get themselves enrolled with some professional bodies like Bar Council of India, like Medical Council of India. There are other professional associations which frame the bylaws of how a person in a particular profession is supposed to act. There are certain code of conduct, there are certain rules that one has to abide in a particular profession while professing. One has to observe the necessary laws, the necessary rules, the regulation, the necessary conduct while professing as a professionals. So therefore, there is professional association. These professional association provide them the certificates for professing as a professional. They regulate the activities of a particular profession, the way they are conducted, the way they are organized. Then adherence to professional ethics. So this calls for the rules, the code of conduct in each profession. There is a code that is being framed. Now each professional is supposed to abide by the code of conduct that is being laid in the particular profession. They have to observe it. They cannot act beyond the law or beyond the ethics that is provided. So these ethics, they are the specialized norms that one has to observe while acting as a professional. and that is expected. Now take an example. The doctor has, or an advocate has service motive. Professional have a service motive inherent. If a patient comes to a doctor who is dying and the doctor says, no, I will not take your case, I need money, give me money. Now what he is doing, he is acting contrary to the code of conduct or the ethical standard that is being prescribed by the professional association bodies, or that is being prescribed for the services of being a doctor. So a doctor has to observe the standard code of ethics regulating his behavior in a particular field of service. And finally, we have dominance of service motive. That is, an professional does not do the work only for earning economic gain, but service motive is inherent in the activity that a professional carries out. So these are the important features of professions and the definition of profession. Now coming to another economic activity of employment. So employment is an activity where an individual, whom we call employee, he provide his services, now his personal services, to the another or to another person who is known as employer. So the employee provide his personal services to the employer under a contract of agreement and for a prescribed remuneration under a contract of service for a prescribed remuneration on a regular basis, or rather regularly. Employment is not only for a moment, it is for a fairly long period. The person who agrees or who is being hired by the service by the employer is known as employee. So there is two persons under a contract of employment. One is employee, the other is employer. Employee is the person who agrees to render his personal services to the another person or to work for another person for a remuneration under a contract of service. The employer agrees to hire the services of the employee for payment of a remuneration under a contract of service. So the basic feature or the first characteristics of a service of employment is that this activity arises out a contract of service. A person who becomes an employee or who becomes ready to provide his services for another or do the work for another, that arises out of a contract of service. He gets an appointment letter to work for another. The remuneration, the terms of services, everything is prescribed or specified in the contract of service. So the first feature of employment is that it arises out of service. Then coming to the second point is that it is a personal service. The person who has agreed to provide his services to the employer, he cannot transfer his service or his service to another. He has to work personally for the employer. He cannot escape his liability, that is that arises out of the contract of services, he cannot transfer his work to another person. Then the third feature is that he works under subordination. The work that is being carried out by an employee is being prescribed, is being directed, is being assigned by the employer. So the employee work in accordance with the direction that is given by the employer. So that is the meaning of work under subordination. Work is commanded. The way of doing a work, it is being commanded, it is being prescribed, it is being directed by the employer. So he has to abide by what is being commanded and what is being prescribed by the employer. He has to do in accordance with the directions of the employer. Then the next feature is no standard qualification. To become an employer or to become an employee, no standard minimum qualification is prescribed. There is one exception to it, or we cannot say exception, but rather when we refer to an activity as an employment, we should keep in mind that in employment as an activity, one person agrees to work for another for a remuneration. There are many professionals who becomes or who get employment under a contract of service, and they work as per the direction that is being mentioned in the contract of service. So they become an employer, they become an employee over there when they become ready, when they accept to work under a contract of service. So the main thing is that under a contract of service, one person who is generally known as employee, he agrees to the terms of services, to the contract, the terms that is contained in the contract of services, and agrees to provide his services to the other person who is known as employer. So here, no standard qualification is required. Now the last is no investment required. A person who is an employee, he does not have to make an investment in assets for laying up a structure, for carrying out his activity. Rather, he work for another under a contract of service. So the necessary equipments or the necessary tools, necessary structure that is being required to execute his work is being provided by his employer. He has to act personally under the contract of service and render his services. So this is the features of or characteristics of an employment, and this we shall continue further with the next topic relating to industry in our next lesson. Till then, keep learning.